The Lion King saga is filled with untold stories, but perhaps one of the greatest mysteries lies not with Scar, not with Simba, but with Zira. Who was she before Scar's reign? Why did she dedicate her entire life to avenging him? What if the answer is far darker than we ever imagined? What if Zira wasn't always an outlander, but a lost princess of the Pride Lands? Long before Scar's rise, before Mufasa ruled, there was another king, King Kajari. His name has faded from the annals of the Pride Lands, but once he was a ruler both feared and respected. Kajari was a lion unlike any other. His onyx black mane flowed like a storm rolling across the horizon, and his piercing amber eyes gleamed with an intensity that could shake even the bravest of warriors. His sheer presence was overwhelming, his roar commanding, and his belief in strength above all else was unshakable. Under his reign, the Pride Lands flourished. The rivers ran full, the herds grew in number, and no enemy dared challenge the borders. To Kajari, prosperity was achieved not through diplomacy, but through dominance. He was not cruel, at least not in his own eyes. He did not kill without reason, nor did he take pleasure in suffering. But mercy, that was a weakness. Kajari believed that only the strong deserved to rule, and only the strong deserved to survive. The old, the weak, and those unwilling to fight for their place were simply left behind. This created a kingdom where fear walked hand in hand with prosperity, where lions thrived but always watched their backs lest they be deemed unworthy. But not all lions agreed with Kajari's ways. Among them was his younger brother, Ahadi. Ahadi saw a different future for the Pride Lands. Unlike his brother, he valued wisdom over brute strength, justice over fear, and unity over conquest. Lions whispered of a time when Ahadi might challenge Kajari, but the thought of it seemed impossible. Kajari was a warrior through and through, a lion who had never known defeat. To challenge him was to challenge a living legend. And yet, the kingdom stood divided. Some lions stood by Kajari, admiring his unyielding strength and absolute rule. They saw him as the embodiment of a king, one who kept the kingdom safe, one who never faltered, one who never let weakness seep into their pride. But others, those who had felt the sting of his iron rule, longed for Ahadi's balance and fairness. They dreamed of a land where they could live without fear, where loyalty was earned, not forced. Tension grew like an approaching storm. It was only a matter of time before the storm broke. One fateful night, under the cold, silver gaze of the full moon, Ahadi stood before his brother and issued his challenge. The entire pride gathered, their eyes wide with fear and anticipation. A battle between brothers, between kings, was something that had not been seen for generations. Kajari did not hesitate. He did not plead. He did not argue. He simply fought. The battle that followed would be spoken of for years. Claws ripped through fur, roars shook the sky, and the earth beneath them trembled beneath their fury. Kajari fought like the warrior he had always been. He was stronger than Ahadi, faster, more experienced. Every muscle in his body was carved for battle, every strike calculated to bring his opponent to the ground. But Ahadi did not falter. Where Kajari had strength, Ahadi had strategy. He fought with precision, dodging Kajari's attacks, using his brother's raw power against him. The battle raged through the night, but as the sun began to rise, only one lion remained standing. Ahadi had won. Kajari, the once unstoppable king, lay on the ground, breathing heavily, his body bruised and bloodied. The pride fell silent, waiting for the final blow, the moment Ahadi would end his brother's reign forever. But Ahadi did not kill him. Instead, he did something no one expected. He cast him into exile. Kajari was banished from the Pride Lands, stripped of his throne, his power, his kingdom. He did not beg. He did not look back. With one last glance at the land he once ruled, he turned and walked into the shadows. But Kajari did not leave alone. And in the darkness beyond the Pride Lands, a new chapter began. Unknown to many, Kajari had a daughter, a small, pale-furred cub named Zira. Too young to understand the betrayal, she was taken by her father into the wilderness, far beyond the borders of the Pride Lands. In exile, Kajari taught Zira the ways of survival. He told her that kindness was weakness, that only the strong would inherit the land. He promised her that one day she would return to reclaim her birthright. But as Zira grew, so did her anger. She didn't just want to reclaim the Pride Lands. She wanted revenge. Years passed, and Kajari grew older, his strength fading. His final lesson to Zira was a single command: find allies, find the forgotten, and take back what is yours. And so, Zira left her father behind, wandering the savannah in search of a new king, a lion who shared her beliefs, a lion who could help her fulfill her destiny. That was when she found Scar. Scar, bitter and cunning, was unlike any lion she had met. He was not the strongest, but he was the smartest. He didn't rule by brute force. He ruled through manipulation, through control. And he too had his grievances with Mufasa, Ahadi's heir. Zira saw something in Scar, a reflection of her father's lost power. And Scar? He saw in Zira a devoted follower, one who would do whatever it took to keep his rule intact. Their alliance was not one of love, but of necessity. Scar gave Zira a purpose, and in return, Zira swore loyalty to him. But there was one truth she never told Scar. She was not just his most devoted follower. She was the forgotten heir of the very throne he stole. When Scar fell, Zira's world crumbled. Once again, she had lost everything, and once again, the Pride Lands had denied her. But unlike Kajari, she would not die in exile. She would return, and she would raise cubs who would finish what she started. Her son, Kovu, would be trained not just as Scar's heir, but as Kajari's revenge. And so, Zira became more than just a follower of Scar. She became the last remnant of a lost lineage, a forgotten ruler's vengeance burning in her heart. So now we must ask ourselves, was Zira truly just a follower of Scar? Or was she something much more? A lost queen in exile? A daughter seeking revenge? Or was she simply a lioness trapped in a past she could never escape? What do you think? Could Zira have been the heir of a king we never knew? And if so, what would have happened if she had won? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love exploring the untold stories of the Lion King, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more hidden legends of the Pride Lands. Until next time, stay curious, because every roar has an echo. And adieu, adieu.